If I told you the Bible teaches that Jesus sinned, would you think I'm a false teacher? John 5 says, John narrating his gospel says, Jesus broke the Sabbath. John says that in the context of saying what the Jews were accusing Jesus of doing, falsely, of course. But John says Jesus broke the Sabbath in the context of the accusation of the Pharisees, which is you can infer is false, of course. Do you know the Bible teaches that Jesus is a wine bibber? Oh, wait, no. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The Bible says in it that Jesus is a wine bibber because it narrates the Pharisees accusing Jesus of being a wine bibber, which is stated as a fact by the Pharisees in the Bible. So no, it does not teach that Jesus is a wine bibber unless you have a bad interpretation. But the Bible says, according to the Pharisees, that Jesus is a wine bibber, right? But what's the message? What's it teaching? What's the Spirit of God teaching? Jesus says, bring thy enemies to my feet and slaughter them at my feet. In the Bible, Jesus teaches that. In a parable, speaking about non-literal things, no Christian walks away from the teachings of Jesus thinking that they should kill their enemies, right? So it's easy to be deceptive if you want to slander somebody, isn't it?
I found out something, the SDA and Jehovah's Witness, they believe the same way. And I got this subject I'm going to do tomorrow about, is Jesus Michael, the Archangel? Very interesting subject, because they think Jesus, SDAs and Jehovah's Witness, they think Jesus is actually Michael the Archangel.
So Jesus, SDA and the Jehovah's Witnesses do both teach that Jesus is Michael the Archangel. That is a true statement. But do they teach the same on the subject? No. You know it's equally true that Jehovah's Witnesses and Seventh-day Adventists teach that Jesus is Michael? That's true. You know what else is true? That Jehovah's Witnesses and most evangelicals teach that Michael is a created being. They're bosom buddies. They both teach that a created being raises the dead, and at his command of standing up off of his throne ushers in the end times. A created being does that. That's also true. So what's going on here? This is misrepresentation on purpose or out of pure ignorance. But if you listen to the disposition in the voice, is clarity what's being desired here? No, it's slander. Pure slander. Why would somebody do that? Why would you want to purposely misrepresent something? That's the question. SDA believe Michael is Jesus, the eternal Son. And Michael is another name for him. We don't believe Michael is a created being like you do. And the Jehovah's Witnesses do. That's a kind of a big deal, wouldn't you say? That would be worth mentioning? No, because you don't want to do that. You want to misrepresent, to dismiss, because you don't have the truth.
Which is a false Jesus. But I got a study on this that I'm going to do tomorrow. They got another Jesus, folks. SD.
See, that's not another Jesus. Because what's the problem with Jehovah's Witnesses' view of Michael? The problem is they make Jesus a created being. Are SDA teaching that? No. That is the problem with the teaching. it's just as equally true that you believe the created being ushers in the end times. You believe Michael's a created being, but I'm not going to accuse you of saying, see, I could say, see, the implicit in the accusation is that we know Michael is a created being. We don't believe that. In fact, if it could be shown, and it can't, that Michael was a created being, SDA wouldn't believe Michael was Jesus. That's the thing that matters here, see? Because of the things that Michael does, they're the prerogatives of Christ, who alone has the power to do what he does. And because it's so associated with Michael that we think Jesus and Michael are the eternal Son, creator of all things. So to try to lump us in with Jehovah's Witnesses is either pure ignorance or pure slander and misrepresentation on purpose. Which is it? If it's the latter, then you're bearing false witness, and that's a sin, by the way. You're not supposed to do that. If it's the former, it's ignorance. Stop teaching immediately, please, because you're embarrassing yourself. So it's you're either being embarrassing or you're purposely being slanderous. Misrepresentation. Why a Christian would want to do that, I have no idea. So, it's kind of like you're a fool or you're a slanderer. Which is it? That's what it feels like. You're either completely ignorant and shouldn't be talking about something you don't know anything about, or you're being a false teacher. You're slandering somebody and bearing false witness on purpose. For the purpose of slandering someone, you're basically, which is what I think it is, because I've explained this many times before what the position is. You should know better. So, what is your goal exactly? To misrepresent? Because you have hate in your heart? I don't know. If you go to my channel and you care about the truth, look up Jesus is Michael on my channel and see what we actually believe.